Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to your City of Fort Lauderdale City Commission meeting. Today is October 3rd, 2022. I'm Ben Sorensen, your vice mayor. The mayor is out of the country tonight, and so honored to be
voluntarily
out of the country. Yes, thank you. Wasn't forced. I want to make sure. Clarify.
So it's clear.
Honored to be here and to be with the other commissioners here, carrying out the business of the City of Fort Lauderdale. Traditionally, we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, so let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We in the City of Fort Lauderdale host commission meetings in person. For additional information, feel free to visit us online, www.fortlauderdale.gov, City Commission meetings. To help ensure decorum at our meetings, we ask that you please abide by the following guidelines. Please refrain from any behavior that's disruptive, distractive, profane, or inhibits the meeting in any way. And if you wish to speak on a specific agenda item, please sign up in the City Hall lobby, which is kind of directly in your back behind you. A member of the city clerk's office can help you there. If that doesn't make sense or you're not able to find anyone, just feel free to go over to this table over here with the young lady in the black. We'll be happy to help or guide if you don't mind. So with that being said, Mr. City Clerk, should we call roll?
Yes. Commissioner Moritas, Commissioner Glassman.
Here.
Commissioner McKenzie is not present. Vice Mayor Sorensen.
Here.
And Mayor Trentelis is not present.
Great. Thank you, Mr. City Clerk. For agenda announcements, OFR 1, the city manager is requesting to defer OFR 1 to October 18th. Do I have that right, Mr. City Manager?
Yes. Good evening, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. Yes, we want to have the opportunity for the mayor to be here as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Those are the only changes that I have for our agenda and approval of minutes. So let me pause to see, do we have a motion for the approval of minutes and the current agenda?
Moved.
Second.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. City Clerk. Call roll.
Vice Mayor Sorensen.
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now we move on to the presentation portion of our City Commission agenda where various commissioners will celebrate some great achievements out in the community. First up is Commissioner Glassman will present a proclamation declaring October 2022 as LGBTQ plus History Month in the City of Fort Lauderdale. Commissioner.
Yes. Thank you, Vice Mayor. And before I go to the podium to do the proclamation, we have a lot of folks here that were interested, and I'm thrilled to announce who will be joining us in the well tonight. And when I call you up, if you'll just stand in the center, and I'll read the proclamation, and then we'll all take some photos, and it'll be great. But I am very honored to mention the folks that I'm going to talk to you about right now. First of all, I'd like to recognize elected officials that are here with us this evening for this proclamation. We have Hallandale Beach Commissioner Sabrina Javiana. We also have Broward County School Board member. Thank you. And folks, when I call you, if you would like to just come right up to the front in the well here, because we're going to be calling a really nice list. We're going to have also Broward County School Board member Sarah Leonardi and her beautiful daughter, Leah. Leah, thank you, Leah, for joining us this evening. With us this evening, who will actually be accepting the proclamation on behalf of all of these wonderful people, is Robert Keston, who's the Executive Director of the Stonewall National Museum and Archives in Fort Lauderdale, and we'll be pleased to give him this proclamation to take back to the museum. So, Robert, if you could join us as well. We have Carvela Striplet from Carvel Bikes, CEO. We have Alfredo Alvera, President, Dolphin Democrats. Stephen Gaskill, President, Florida LGBTQ Democratic Caucus. Michael Albetta, Lake Ridge Civic Association President, Florida LGBTQ Democratic Caucus Regional Chair, and Representative for District 2 on the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Associations. We have Mary Eakins Durand, Equality Florida, South Florida Field Organizer. We have Robert Kuhn, the Legacy Society Officer for Equality Florida. We have Mark Kent from the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. We have Robert Boo, the Chief Executive Officer of Pride Center. We have Martin Childers, Island City Stage Managing Director. We have Our Fund Foundation, President and CEO David Jobin. We have Pavarello Center, Inc., Thomas Pietrogallo. We have Safe Schools South Florida Representative, Francesca Del More. We have SunServe, Susan Gritz. We have Sunshine Cathedral Senior Minister, Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins, Sunshine Cathedral Executive Minister, Reverend Dr. Robert Griffin, Sunshine Social Services CEO and Executive Director, Tony Lima, World AIDS Museum and Education Center, Andrew Ruffner, Trans-Inclusive Group Deputy Director, Nick Zantop, Trans-Inclusive Group Executive Director, Tatiana Williams, and Trans-Inclusive Group Program Director, Adriana Tender. Thank you, everyone, for being with us this evening. And now it is my absolute pleasure to read this proclamation from the Office of the Mayor, City of Fort Lauderdale. This is a proclamation in recognition of October 2022 as LGBTQ+ History Month. Whereas Fort Lauderdale is proud of its diverse, inclusive, and welcoming community, committed to equality for all individuals, including sexual orientations, gender identities, and gender expressions, and engages with community partners to provide safe spaces for its residents and visitors. And whereas October holds historical significance because in October 1979, the first LGBTQ+ National March on Washington occurred to urge Congress to pass protective civil rights legislation. And in 1994, a coalition of education-based organizations in the United States designated October as LGBTQ+ History Month. LGBTQ+ History Month, which also includes National Coming Out Day on October 11, is an annual, month-long observance of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender history, and the history of LGBTQ+ rights and related civil rights movements. And whereas the purpose of commemorating this month is to recognize the impact that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals have had on history, locally, nationally, and internationally, this history should not be erased and deserves to be taught in schools. And whereas LGBTQ+ History Month is also a time to reflect on the progress we have made as a city for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer individuals, and reaffirm our commitment to do more to support LGBTQ+ rights. Whereas, despite the efforts of so many to protect the rights of LGBTQ+ Americans, these citizens remain under continual attack. Members of the LGBTQ+ community, especially people of color and transgender people, continue to face discrimination and cruel, persistent efforts to undermine their human rights with egregious anti-LGBTQ+ legislation, including the marginalization of LGBTQ+ school children in Florida and our nation. And whereas Fort Lauderdale endorses countywide policies, procedures, and practices for an inclusive environment that are consistent with the Broward County policies for the treatment of all LGBTQ+ people. And whereas in October, we remind the LGBTQ plus community that they are loved, cherished, and deserving of dignity, respect, and support. Today and every day, the City of Fort Lauderdale stands with the LGBTQ plus community in the ongoing battle against discrimination, intolerance, and hate. And whereas this month, we honor the resilience of LGBTQ plus people who are fighting to live authentically and freely, we reaffirm our belief that LGBTQ plus rights are human rights. We recommit to delivering protections, safety, and equality to LGBTQ plus families in the City of Fort Lauderdale and all over the world. Now, therefore, we, as City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2022 as LGBTQ plus History Month in the City of Fort Lauderdale, dated this, the 3rd day of October 2022, and signed by our Mayor, the Honorable Dean J. Trentalis.
Thank you all. Steven. So funny. Good to see you, man. Good. All right, Alberta. See you. Sounds good. Thank you, Commissioner Glassman. Fantastic. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Keep doing the great work. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Is Shawnee Wilson here? Shawnee, come on up. There you are. Thank you. If you would come on up to this podium. Shawnee's the Vice President of Development at Hispanic Unity, and we're going to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. So come on over here, Shawnee. Thanks so much for being here. How are you? Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Glassman, Commissioner Moritas just wanted to celebrate Hispanic unity and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month in particular, which kind of spans September and October, right? So it's so good, you got to cover 2 months. So wanted to just read a little bit about our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, and then would love to have you share some words if you like. So in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th, to October 15th, 2022, whereas generations of immigrants from around the globe have relocated to the United States and have contributed to the unique character of our nation. And whereas each year Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month by celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas the observation started in 1968, under President Lyndon Johnson as Hispanic Heritage Week. In 1988, President Ronald Reagan expanded this period to cover the entire month, beginning September 15th and ending October 15th. Whereas this year's theme is Unidos Inclusivity for a Stronger Nation, reinforces the desire within the Hispanic community to be represented and heard in all aspects of American society. And whereas the Hispanic population in the United States now exceeds 60 million people, constituting nearly 20% of the total population, over 30,000 Hispanic people call for Fort Lauderdale their home and represent the wide range of nationalities that reflect the diversity of the American people. Now, therefore, we as the City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month in the city of Fort Lauderdale and encourage all to join us and celebrate the rich cultures, contributions, and continuing fight for equality and histories of those with Hispanic heritage. Dated this, the 3rd day of October, 2022, signed your mayor, Dean J. Trantelis. Thank you.
Thank you all for including us in your celebration. Hispanic Unity of Florida is a 40-year-old nonprofit organization, and in that time, we've served more than 500,000 individuals. Our mission is to help immigrants and others become self-sufficient, civically engaged, and productive, and we are incredibly grateful for each of you who share our dream of creating an inclusive and equitable community of successful children, strong families, and civically engaged individuals. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now the third presentation, Commissioner Moritas will present a proclamation declaring October 2022 as Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. While I'm getting ready to walk down, can I please have the following people come up to the well also? Tamika McKay, our Director of Information Technology. Clifford Alberry, our Division Manager of IT Security Services. Detective Chase Fopiani, hope I said that right. Guy Hine, our Human Resources Risk Manager. And I believe from Dillard High School, we have the principal, and they now have an emerging computer technology magnet program. So the principal is Cassandra Robinson, if you'd like to come on up. And then Brad Niemeyer, I believe you're a teacher, right? Come on up. Good to see you. Come down. Thank you. All righty. Welcome to the City of Fort Lauderdale. We're thankful for what you all do to protect us and teach our students how to protect us. Obviously, this is an important field. So from the Office of the Mayor of the City of Fort Lauderdale, I'd like to issue this proclamation in recognition of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Whereas in 2004, the President of the United States and Congress declared the month of October as Cybersecurity Awareness Month, recognized by the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center, the National Association of State Chief Information Officers, and the National Cybersecurity Alliance. This effort helps individuals protect themselves online as threats to technology and confidential data become more commonplace. Whereas maintaining the security of cyberspace is a shared responsibility where each of us has a critical role to play, increased awareness of computer security essentials will improve the security of the City of Fort Lauderdale's information, infrastructure, and economy. Whereas the City of Fort Lauderdale recognizes its vital role protecting its residents, business owners, and visitors from cyber threats that may significantly impact individual and collective privacy. The city has been more proactive on this front, designated an IT team to monitor and respond to cyber threats and administer cybersecurity training to all employees. This year, city employees demonstrated their dedication to cybersecurity with a successful training completion rate of 97.2% across all departments. Whereas the 2022 National Cybersecurity and Public Awareness Campaign, See Yourself in Cyber, demonstrates that cybersecurity is ultimately all about people despite seeming like a complex subject. The campaign is supported and implemented by a coalition of private companies, academic institutions, nonprofits, and government organizations with the shared goal of raising awareness of cyber threats. Whereas the National Institute Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework has been developed as a free resource to help organizations of all sizes and sectors, the National Institute Standards and Technology helps participating organizations improve cybersecurity practices through a practical approach and by addressing evolving threats and challenges. Whereas all residents are encouraged to visit CISA.gov to learn more and take steps such as enabling multi-factor authentication, using strong passwords, recognizing and reporting phishing, and updating software. Whereas the City of Fort Lauderdale recognizes the valuable contributions of our information technology team towards securing the Fort Lauderdale community and commends them for their efforts. Now, therefore, we as City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale do hereby proclaim the month of October 2022 as Cybersecurity Awareness Month in the City of Fort Lauderdale, and encourage all residents to see themselves in cyber and protect themselves online. Signed, your Mayor, Dean J. Trantelis. Thank you. That's a long one. Can we make these shorter? Tamika, would you like to say a few words? Come on up. And maybe a principal, would you like to tell us about your program? Ms. Cassandra, come on over.
Good evening, Tamika McKay, IT Director, City of Fort Lauderdale. First, I'd like to thank our City Commission and our city leadership for their continued support in cybersecurity and internet safety. So much of our daily lives exist on digital platforms, and we need everyone to do their part to combat the growing threats our nation faces in cyberspace. Our Federal Cyber and Infrastructure Security Agency kicked off National Cybersecurity Awareness Month following a proclamation by President Biden designating October as a time for public and private sectors to work together to continue raising awareness about the importance of cybersecurity and to equip the public with resources they need to stay safe online. Throughout the month of October, the IT department, in collaboration with the police department, will be hosting several events promoting cybersecurity awareness. One of those events will be cybersecurity classes taught by our very own Detective Chase Fopiano, daily cyber tips, and test phishing emails. Those who fail the test phishing emails will be required to repeat their cybersecurity training. So be diligent and look out. I just want to share 3 statistics with you quickly. I know time is short. Over 90% of successful cyber attacks start with a phishing email, and this is what led to the Ukrainian power grid attack. Hackers paralyzed 911 operations in Suffolk County, New York, just 4 weeks ago, September 8th, 2022. And one final stat, did you know that most people who purchase burglar alarm systems for their homes do so after they've been burglarized? So we believe that prevention is cheaper than cure, and cybersecurity is ultimately about protecting lives and keeping people secure. Our theme is do your part, be cyber smart. Can I get everyone to say that with me? 1, 2, 3. Do your part, be cyber smart. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just very quickly, again, I'm Cassandra D. Robinson, the proud principal at Dillard High School. Thank you so much for this honor. We have a saying at Dillard High School that we excel in academics, the arts, technology, and athletics. And I would be remiss if I didn't say something about Marcia Pender, who's on the wall, our beloved basketball coach of 40 years who passed away last year. So we're just so happy to see her picture hanging here. But as it relates to technology, through our emerging technology program, we have several thriving programs, being our cybersecurity program, robotics, and digital entrepreneurship. And it's my pleasure to bring to the podium one of my most awesome instructors, Mr. Niemeyer, to talk a little bit about our cybersecurity programs.
Hi, so I'm Brad Niemeyer. I teach cybersecurity, programming, game design at Dillard High School. One of the things that I really lean on is making sure that it's applied, making sure that theory goes into application. And one of the things that we really focus on at Dillard is making sure that we have everything available for the students. So I'm always reaching out, finding stuff, finding unique ways for students to have applied and useful knowledge so that they can step in and get jobs right away. That was something that we were very good in this last year. We worked with Junior Achievement. We're able to get 20 of our 21 students jobs over the summer in order to work directly with people in the IT field. So as Ms. Robinson says, together we make great things happen, and part of that is the community for you guys too. So, thank you for supporting us, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
All right, come on over.
Thank you all. Thank you for your work. Commissioner Moritas, do you want to stay there for your next presentation?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful.
All right. For our next proclamation in recognition of Fire Prevention Week, do we have a battalion officer, Chief Oatmeyer? Come on up, Chief. Chief? Our main chief? Yes. Yes, please come on up to the front. Like the background, it'd be a perfect place for a picture. Yes, we'll look at that. Okay. From the Office of the Mayor of the City of Fort Lauderdale, I'd like to issue this proclamation in recognition of Fire Prevention Week. Whereas the City of Fort Lauderdale is committed to safeguarding the lives and property of everyone who resides in and visits our city, fire is a serious threat to public safety locally and nationally, and our homes are where we face the greatest risk of harm from fire. And whereas, according to the National Fire Protection Association, fire departments responded to 356,500 home fires nationwide in 2020 that resulted in 2,580 deaths. Whereas Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue employees are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of residential fires and its often devastating outcomes through prevention and protection education, whereas neighbors who heed the public education efforts are better equipped to take the appropriate steps to ensure their safety in the event of a residential fire, and those who create a home fire escape plan are more prepared to react quickly and with purpose if a fire should occur in their home. Whereas every Fort Lauderdale resident should have working smoke detectors and carbon monoxide alarms in their homes, every family member should know how to respond when these devices are activated. Properly placed and functional devices provide the earliest possible warning of the potential danger, maximizing the time available to safely escape. Whereas the 2022 Fire Prevention Week theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, effectively serves to remind all of Fort Lauderdale the importance to have and rehearse a home fire escape plan so everyone knows what to do and where to go in the case of a home fire emergency. Now, therefore, we, as the City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale, do hereby proclaim the week of October 9th through the 15th as Fire Prevention Week in the City of Fort Lauderdale and urge everyone to implement and practice a home fire escape plan during this week in support of the public safety efforts of the Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue Department. Signed, your Mayor, Dean J. Trantellis. Thank you very much. Chief, who would like to say a word?
Thank you, Commissioner Moritas, Vice Mayor Sorensen, Commissioner Glassman, City Manager, for allowing us to educate our neighbors on the importance of Fire Prevention Week 2022. This year's theme is Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. Per the National Fire Protection Association, home fires caused over 2,500 civilian deaths in the United States in 2020. And fire departments in the United States responded to over 350,000 home fires. Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue urges our residents to make sure they have working smoke alarms that will alert them to danger in the event of a fire. When a smoke alarm sounds as a result of a fire, residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. Remember, fire won't wait, plan your escape. As you walked in by the agenda, I left a bunch of home fire escape plans, so if you have kids, why don't you go ahead and pick one up and take it home, get with your kids, and plan your home fire escape plan. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
fire.
This is a smoke alarm.
That was a fire?
That was
Yes.
the
What does
smoke
the carbon
alarm.
monoxide sound like?
It's the same.
Same.
Just
Okay.
want you to
very
get
much.
out, plan your escape.
Front with both of them. We got a photo?
Nice. Thank you, Chiefs. I need to get one of those to talk with my daughters about. Renee, can you get me a plan, please, so I can go over that with my kids? Thank you, Chiefs. Awesome. Next up, the last presentation is from Michael Marash. Come on up, Michael. Designated Class 1 Public Protection Classification Rating to the City of Fort Lauderdale. And who's receiving this on behalf of the city? Okay, Chief, great.
Yes, and Rob Weiler, our
Great, hey, Rob.
accreditation coordinator.
Perfect, thank you. All yours, Michael.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yeah.
On behalf of ISO, which is the parent company of Verisk, Verisk, which is the parent company of ISO, which is an insurance product, the City of Fort Lauderdale was a Class 1, and through a process of which we come out to a community, we evaluate the capabilities of which fire department has of suppressing a first alarm fire. The City of Fort Lauderdale went through this process and they were able to maintain their Class 1 again, which is very good because only 1% of fire departments across the nation are able to actually score within a Class 1. And the City of Fort Lauderdale has done it several times, which is very, very good. And on the back half of the fire prevention part of it, part of what ISO looks at in the evaluation is fire prevention. And the City of Fort Lauderdale, they scored 5.96 out of 5 points that is available in that section. They did have a very good fire prevention bureau as well as very good department, which serves the city and the residents of Fort Lauderdale, as well as Wilton Manors and Lazy Lakes, which all gets that benefit from that Class 1. Chief, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You're such a great person.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Chief.
just wanted to just make a quick comment about that ISO Fire Protection 1 rating. It has a great deal to do with the economic benefit to the city as well. The insurance rates are lower, the better your fire class protection rating is, and it can't get any better than 1. So we really appreciate everybody that helped make that, and it's not just us, the fire department, but it also includes our water utilities and the water system that we have. It includes communication, includes a lot of other areas, but we really appreciate the collaboration we get from our sister and brother departments.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, great work. Excellent, very good. So we will move from the presentations component to consent agenda. And the consent agenda is comprised of several portions in your agenda: the consent motions, consent resolution, consent purchases. Are there any items that you would like to remove from the consent agenda? I'll start with Commissioner Moritas.
No, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Glassman.
No, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
Moved.
Second.
City Clerk?
Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
Okay, with that, all items on the consent agenda are approved. Now, we're going to deviate a little bit in the moment right now. Alan, is the court reporter available? Okay, fantastic. So hi, Commissioner McKenzie. Doing great. The city attorney has requested of the city commission to participate in a closed-door meeting. So as a city commission, we're going to do that at this point, if it's okay with all of you.
I don't have a problem, but a point of clarification for you.
Sure. Yeah, Commissioner.
In watching you all from home, it looks like no one's leading. Maybe you should sit here. because you're so far to the left, you just hear your voice. Just as a point
Sure,
of
yeah,
clarification.
I'm happy to shift over there, Commissioner. I can do that, happy to do that when we get back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks, sir.
Happy to do it. So at this point, if it's all right with commissioners, we will recess the city commission meeting. We're going to have to go to a closed door meeting. So the four of us with the city attorney, city manager, will move upstairs for a closed door session. It'll probably take about 15 minutes, 20 minutes maximum. Then we'll come back here and we'll resume the city commission meeting. Mr. City Clerk, am I articulating that? Okay, yep. And so you want me to read that now? Okay. City Attorney, am I so far so good? Kind of covering where we're, okay. So let's see. At this time, the City Commission shall meet privately to discuss, to conduct discussions between the city manager, city attorney, and the City Commission relative to pending litigation pursuant to Section 286.0118 Florida statutes in connection with the following matter. Teresa Grimes versus the City of Fort Lauderdale. Case number 2102098409. So present at this attorney-client session will be the Vice Mayor, Ben Sorensen, myself, Commissioner Heather Moritas, Commissioner Stephen Glassman, Commissioner Robert McKenzie, City Manager Greg Chevarria, City Attorney Alan Boileau, outside counsel Jeffrey Lawley, and certified court reporter from Bailey Enton Reporting. The estimated length of this time is approximately 20 minutes. At the conclusion of the closed-door session, I'll announce that the closed-door session of the commission is now terminated and the public meeting is now reopened. Questions, concerns? Good? Okay. Great. So we stand in recess at this moment, and we'll reconvene in approximately 20 minutes. Thank you. Well, welcome back. The executive closed-door session of the City Commission is now terminated, and the public meeting is now reopened. All right, so we will continue on in our agenda, and we had completed the consent and approved the consent agenda, so that has been all approved. Now we're moving to motions, which is M1, motion approving an event agreement with request for music exemption for the Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival Beach Bash closing party. Is there,
So moved.
yeah,
Second.
okay, great.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes,
Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
and Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
and that motion is approved. Next, M2, motion approving event agreements and related road closures for dining in the streets and mass district events. Any discussion, commissioners? If not, someone
Move
can.
to approve.
Moved. Did I hear a second?
Yes, moved.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
moved, great. Is there a second?
I moved it. I think she seconded it.
Okay, great.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes,
Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
and that motion is approved. M3, motion approving an event agreement, related road closures, and request for a music exemption for Mods Gala.
Moved.
Moved. Is there a second? Second?
Commissioner McKenzie, Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
M3 is approved. M4, motion authorizing the withdrawal from negotiations for lease agreement with Midgard Group, Inc. for Lot 2021 in the Airport Industrial Park at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport.
Moved.
Second.
Commissioner McKenzie, Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
And with that, M4 is approved. Fantastic. Now we go to neighborhood presentations, and we have Anthony Falcone here. Great, Anthony, welcome. If you would come on up to the podium over here. And let's see, you have, what do we get for presentations? Is it 3 minutes? Does that sound right?
Okay, I'll talk fast.
Talk fast. All right, hold on. Don't start talking yet. Let me just see if I
You timing me?
get us going here. I don't think it's on right now. Start, stop. Yeah, City Clerk, do you want to? There you go. Anthony, do you have any visuals you wanted to share, or is it just, okay,
Just wanted to speak
fantastic.
for
So give
3
us
minutes.
a few seconds here and we'll get it cranking. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, fantastic. Anthony, it is all yours.
Yeah, I live in Flagler Village, and as you know, recently they put up pay-by-phone signs throughout the neighborhood. It's a completely residential neighborhood, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and numerous of my neighbors that there's just nowhere to park. I live in an over 55 building. Many of my neighbors are elderly and have home care that come in. No place to park unless you pay. And I noticed the streets are bare. I realize the city needs to make money, but it's obvious it's not working. They're not making money from parking tickets. And I moved here from West Hollywood, where if you were a resident and showed proof of residency, you could buy like a yearly decal like we do for the beach. And I just think more people in the city would make much, much more money if they offered people that. I understand that you can, if you're a homeowner, get like a decal, but it's like $75 a month, which is, I think, ridiculously high. I mean, the condos across the street from me start around $700,000. Even for them, the city's gouging them. It's just ridiculous. So I just wanted to say I think there can be a better method. And I've also tested it. I have parking in my building, and I've called up and I've done it. And it's like $1.50 an hour if you live in the neighborhood. And then 27 cents is added on to the private company that's doing this. So not all the money's even going to the city. I just think it's ridiculous. There could be a better method, and I think the city could make more money if they considered something else.
Thanks, Anthony. And tell me again what street you're kind of referring to?
I'm on 4th Avenue.
4th Ave.
And I wanted to say also, the Courtyard Marriott, there's no signs around that. So why are businesses being given preferential treatment?
Okay, great. Just if you just hang tight here, let's get a little feedback. Greg, do you want to?
Sure. I'd like to ask Ben Rogers to talk about the existing parking programs and what has been done also to improve the experience recently, and also discuss around the Courtyard Marriott, if you have any information, Ben, to share.
Yeah, good afternoon, Vice Mayor and Commission. Ben Rogers, Director of Transportation Mobility. So earlier this year, I believe in May, the city took action to start installing paid parking in the Flagler Village neighborhood. And a lot of that was to keep up with the demand and the mixed use that's going on in that area. And so we're trying to balance the needs of long-term parking and short-term parking. So hourly parking was implemented already existed in some areas, and then it was added to different areas. As part of that rollout, we created a monthly permit option that's $55 per month.
Say that again. How much, Ben?
$55 per month.
Okay.
That would allow someone to purchase and park during an extended period of time. In addition to that, we had some feedback from neighbors and some concerns about the options and the impact that it was having on them. And so the city manager authorized a pilot permit program for $75 per year for homeowners in Flagler Village. They can apply, and it has some parking rights associated with that. So that's where we stand today. We did reach out to Mr. Falcone and have not heard back from him on his concerns.
Thanks, Ben. And if you could just articulate a little bit about the I think you said $55 a month and $75 a year, what benefits that conveys.
So what the parking permits do is they allow you to forego the hourly parking. So you still have rights and access to the right-of-way to park for extended period of time, up to 24 hours at a time, at a fixed cost per that month or per year.
And are both available just to Fort Lauderdale residents? Is that here?
So the $55 monthly permit is available to anyone.
Okay.
And the $75 one is a pilot permit program, and that is offered right now to property owners.
Okay, great.
What about renters?
Renters right now would be underneath the monthly one at $55 per month.
Will we be looking at the entirety of the program? I'm just trying to figure out why a renter that might live in Flagler Village couldn't get the $75 a year permit that an owner would get. I'm just trying to figure out the difference.
Yeah, we can continue to look at it. Some of these, again, were pilot decisions, and they were made to try to mitigate some of the immediate urgent issues that we received feedback on. So we'll continue to work with the Homeowners Association and see how we can modify. One of the concerns, though, is that if we continue to expand the permit options, that it's going to negate the benefit of balancing the short-term parking needs and the long-term parking needs.
And let me understand the rationale for implementing the entire project. Was this because we were finding that folks were just sitting in a spot for a long period of time, or what was the rationale?
Yeah, so as the neighborhood became more mixed use, there's competing priorities, right? People trying to support the businesses, go to dinner, things like that. I think a perfect example, Commissioner, is when we had the Made to Move ribbon cutting or groundbreaking last week. The number one thing I heard was, get there early, you're not going to be able to find a parking space. With the hourly parking in the area, there was ample parking available to support those functions, so people who were going to those events could have places to park. Another reason that we implemented is just looking ahead into the future. There's a lot of development activities that are going to be going on in that area. So to try to mitigate construction parking, things like that, if we put hourly parking on there, it would kind of mitigate some of the congestion or the unwanted impacts to the neighborhood.
So I know that some of the original complaints that we started hearing were from Bamboo Flats in Flagler Village. Where are we with Bamboo Flats?
So we met with Bamboo Flats numerous times, and the outcome of those conversations were the pilot permit program that the city manager authorized. And so we've offered that to them. I believe 13 or 15 of their property owners have come in and purchased the permit, and I have not heard from them for probably 6 to 8 weeks.
The yearly $75 for the year?
That's correct.
Okay, and that gives them unlimited parking in the neighborhood?
There's some stipulations about how long they can stay in a certain spot, but yes.
Okay, and would it be possible that you might have a conversation with Mr. Falcone just to find out more specifics of his building?
Yes, we actually, after we received word that he was going to be presenting, we reached out to his building to figure out what parking was available in his building and in the area. And I believe his building allows one parking space per resident. And so his issue or concern is when others come to his building.
Okay, understand. But if you guys could get together, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. Anthony, does that make sense, some of the options currently?
Yeah, I live across the street from the
Okay, okay.
There's a very high-end condominium.
Okay, yeah.
And I think most people could afford $75 a year, but asking $55 a month.
Uh-huh,
When you have, we have no visitor parking in my building.
okay.
So unless, if I ever did.
Come on up to the podium here just so we can hear you and then, thank
But-
you.
Ben, I wanted to hear from Ben, though, about the
Sure.
Courtyard Marriott issue that Mr. Falcone said that they don't have the same requirement of parking around the Courtyard Marriott. I just want to get some clarification on that as
On
well.
6th Street, in front of the Courtyard Marriott, there are no signs.
Okay,
And I see people parking there all the time without being ticketed.
understood.
Okay,
Like I said, I live across the street from the Bamboo Flats. Those are high-end condominiums. You know, those people can afford $75 a year or even
How many units are in your
$55.
building?
What's that?
How many units are in your building?
100.
100? Okay.
Ben, do you want to give us your feedback on the hotel, the parking close by?
Yeah, there's existing parking or paid parking in the neighborhood, and then we put up a plan to expand that. We have not rolled out all the areas at this point, and some areas have heavy construction and heavy development at this point, so we haven't gone into those areas, and I think that's the area that Mr. Falcone is talking about, near the construction of the hotel. I don't know if our long-term plan, I'd have to check with staff, has paid parking in that area. We did not do every single street or every single roadway, but I can check with staff, and when I get with Mr. Falcone, I can give him that update.
Great. Great, thank you, Ben. And so, Anthony, we're just, as you heard, pilot projects, trying some new things, so spend some,
There is like you said,
Yeah.
there is construction
Yep.
across from the Marriott
Yep.
that they're doing.
so just spend some time with Ben a little bit, and you might have good ideas we aren't thinking of, so just, we're,
Like I said, I just think it should be reasonable for
Sure.
everyone.
Yep,
Not
it's
just
a fair point.
homeowners
Okay.
or people that can afford $750,000 condominiums.
Sure. Yep, fair point. So let's get with Ben, and we'll keep working on it. Yeah, if that's fair. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it. Okay, wonderful. Now we'll move on to resolutions. R1, appointment of board and committee members. Mr. City Clerk.
Yes, for the October 18th resolution for the Central City Redevelopment Advisory Board, Scott Scheckman, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Linda Fleischman, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Budget Advisory Board, Ronald Goff, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. Education Advisory Board, Yolanda Francis, nominated by Commissioner McKenzie. And David Brown for the Audit Advisory Board, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. And for tonight's resolution, the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, Gary Depew, nominated by Vice Mayor Sorensen. Aviation Advisory Board, Mark Volchek, nominated by Commissioner McKenzie. Budget Advisory Board, Ronald Goff, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. Community Appearance Board, Paul Robinson, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. Economic Development Advisory Board, Kenneth Hers, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. Education Advisory Board, Pamela Aiken, nominated by Commissioner McKenzie. Nuisance Abatement Board, Avigdor Pemper, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Public Art and Placement Advisory Board, Phoenix Lynn Marks, nominated by Vice Mayor Sorensen, and that rounds it out.
Excellent. Thank you. That's the resolution. Anyone like to introduce that?
Introduced.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing or nominating, if applicable, board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached here to and made a part hereof. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And that resolution is approved. R2, resolution supporting the Broward Solar Co-op and directing the city manager to provide in-kind support for informational meetings and outreach on the co-op and allowing the city of Fort Lauderdale to be identified as a partner of the co-op. Anyone like to introduce that?
Introduced.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, supporting the Broward Solar Co-op, directing the city manager to provide in-kind support for informational meetings and outreach on the co-op and allowing the city to be identified as a partner of the Broward Solar Co-op and providing for an effective date. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen.
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas.
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
And with that, R2 is passed. Moving on to public hearings. So PH1, quasi judicial ordinance rezoning from residential multifamily mid-rise, medium high density, RMM 25 district to Northwest Regional Activity Center, mixed use East District, 312 Northwest 7th Street, LLC, case number UDP Z22004. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commissioners will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. I'll start off with you, Commissioner Moritas. Any visits or communication?
None.
Thank you. Commissioner McKenzie.
Spoke to representative.
Great. Commissioner Glassman.
Yes, I met with Ms. Toothaker on August 18th, 2022.
Great. And myself met with representative. Excellent. Those signed up to speak, the only person is Stephanie Toothaker, who is the designated representative.
Is this it?
And I think she's getting her presentation ready. Go ahead.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Stephanie Toothaker on behalf of Home Ventures. This is a request for a rezoning in the Progresso neighborhood. I have a very short presentation. I'll just take you through it. It is a rezoning from RMM 25 to Northwest RAC MUE, which is consistent with the pattern in the neighborhood. So this is an aerial view of the property. It is consistent with the land use. It is in the RAC zoning. It is also, you can see here that it's outlined in red, the area that we're requesting rezoning. It is adjacent to property that is already zoned, the zoning category that we're requesting to go to. And as I said, it is consistent with the land use. And you can see it would continue the pattern of rezonings that have happened in this area. Again, this is just showing you some other rezonings in that area. It's sort of a pattern of rezoning that's been happening in the neighborhood. We did go through, I don't need to read all this to you. I know you're very familiar with the rezoning criteria. We did do a complete analysis, and this is part of your backup and also part of our application. And we did also meet with the neighborhood association a couple of times, and we did get a letter of support from Progresso Village. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Toothaker. Commissioner Glassman, I'll turn it over to you if you're anything you want to lead with.
I'm ready to move it forward.
Okay, great. Then we can hear a motion to close public hearing.
Moved.
Second.
Great.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen.
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas.
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve PH1?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second?
Actually, it's an introduction. We introduced the ordinance.
Sorry, introduce? Okay, sorry, is there
Introduce.
Commissioner Glassman?
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from residential multifamily mid-rise medium high density district to Northwest Regional Activity Mixed Use East District lots 1 through 16 and lots 33, 34, 35, 36, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48, Block 322, Progresso, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 18 of the Public Records of Dade County, Florida, located west of Northwest 3rd Avenue, north of Sis Trunk Boulevard, east of Northwest 4th Avenue, and south of Northwest 7th Street, all said lands being the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And with that,
Thank you very
PH1
much.
is approved. Thank you. PH2, public hearing, ordinance amending the City of Fort Lauderdale Unified Land Development Regulations, Section 47-6.12, list of permitted and conditional uses, General Business B2 District, Section 47-6.13, list of permitted and conditional uses, heavy commercial, light industrial B3 District, and Section 47-19.9, outdoor uses, case number UDP T22005. Would anyone like to, any discussion on this?
Introduce the ordinance.
Introduced.
Alan, should we close the public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner McKenzie? Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Public hearing is now closed. Would anyone like to introduce PH2?
Introduced.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending 47-6 entitled Business Zoning Districts of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations to add radio broadcast facility, production facility, radio, television, and motion picture production as a conditional use and outdoor television and motion picture production as an accessory use to Section 47-6.12 entitled List of Permitted and Conditional Uses, General Business District, and Section 47-6.13 entitled List of Permitted and Conditional Uses, Heavy Commercial Light Industrial District, amending Section 47-19.9 entitled Outdoor Uses of the ULDR to add criteria for outdoor television and motion picture production when ancillary to television and motion picture production, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And with that, PH2 is approved. Now on to OFR, ordinance in their first readings. OFR 1, first reading, ordinance repealing Article 9, prohibition of conversion therapy on minors of Chapter 29, Human Rights of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Code of Ordinances. Mr. City Attorney, maybe can you give us a little bit of background for the public, what this is and why this is coming in front of us?
OSR 1, I believe that's been asked to be deferred.
Okay.
But I can
Yeah,
I can
OFR,
give an
Deferring
explanation if
this.
you want.
Great.
Yeah.
So this has been requested to be deferred. Do we need to
Defer to the next meeting.
defer to
Date,
October 18th?
Yeah.
Great. Do we need
I'm
to-
sorry, I heard OSR.
Yeah. Do we need to act on this?
Motion to defer to
Move to
October
defer to October 18th.
Great. Is there a second to move to defer this item?
Second.
Second. City Clerk?
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
So with that, OFR 1 is moved to October 18th, 2022. We had James Labrie wanting to speak on it, but I think he just left because knowing that it was deferred, so he will be welcome to come back on October 18th to discuss. Excellent. Now moving on to OSR ordinance second readings. So OSR 1 is the first one. Second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from Boulevard Business B1 District to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District 2750 Northwest 19th Street and 2770 Northwest 19th Street, City of Fort Lauderdale. Case number UDP Z22005. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Commissioner Moritas, do you have any disclosures?
No.
No. Commissioner McKenzie? Nope. Commissioner Glassman?
No.
I do not have any either. Do we close public hearing on this or no? So anyone like to introduce?
Introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from B1 Boulevard Business District to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District, all of lots 13, 14, and 15, Block 1, Lauderdale Manor home sites, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 34, page 21 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Northwest 26th Terrace, north of Northwest 18th Court, east of Northwest 28th Avenue, and south of Northwest 19th Street, all said lands being the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And with that, OSR 1 is passed on the second reading. Fantastic. OSR 2, second reading quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from planned unit development, PUD, to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District, 1621 Southwest 24th Street, City of Fort Lauderdale, case number UDP Z22006. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Commissioner Moritas?
No.
Commissioner McKenzie?
None that I'm aware of.
Commissioner Glassman?
None.
None for me as well. Anyone like to introduce this?
Introduced.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the city of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from Planned Unit Development District to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of Parcel 2, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 175, page 178 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Southwest 15th Avenue, north of Southwest 24th Street, east of Southwest 17th Ave, and south of Southwest 23rd Street, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
That OSR 2 passes. OSR 3, second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from Airport Industrial Park District to Parks Recreation and Open Space District, 6200 Northwest 21st Ave, City of Fort Lauderdale, case number UDP Z22007. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Commissioner Moritas?
None.
Commissioner McKenzie?
None.
Commissioner Glassman?
None.
Would anyone like to introduce?
Introduced.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from Airport Industrial Park District to Parks Recreation Open Space District, a portion of Lot 44, Fort Lauderdale Industrial Air Park, Section 2, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 63, page 8 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Northwest 15th Avenue, north of West Cypress Creek Road, east of Northwest 21st Avenue, and south of Northwest 64th Street, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And OSR 3 is approved. And again, what we're doing here is we're rezoning land that's used as parks in the city to park space. So it's a great initiative started by a lot of neighbors that were interested in this. And so that's why it's a little monotonous at home if you're playing along. All right. OSR 4, second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from Regional Activity Center, City Center District to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Districts. 25 Southwest 9th Street and 701 South Andrews Avenue, City of Fort Lauderdale, case number UDP Z22008. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Commissioner Moritas?
None.
Commissioner McKenzie?
None.
Commissioner Glassman?
None.
None for me as well. Anyone like to introduce?
Introduced.
In an ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from Regional Activity Center, City Center District to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of lots 1, 2, and 3, Block 60, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book B, page 40 of the Public Records of Dade County, Florida, less the east 15 feet of said Lot 1, located west of South Andrews Avenue, north of Southwest 9th Street, east of Florida East Coast Railway, and south of Southwest 7th Street, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner
And
McKenzie?
hold on a sec, sorry, Mr. City Clerk. We have a speaker, Roderick Newkirk. Roderick Newkirk, are you here? Roderick, would you like to speak to this item? Do we have you on the radar? Great, come on up. Sorry, Miss, is that all right to open this up? City Attorney doing that, okay. Roderick, thank you. If you'd introduce yourself and share your thoughts.
Yes, hey, how you doing? My name is Roderick Newkirk. Stay in the city. I was born and raised in the city. I had emailed the body some time ago. I was going through a situation. When I was going through the situation, I was losing the place over there in Plantation, but Plantation, they worked with me very well. I end up going to the North Broward shelter. I went to the shelter. I was homeless for a while, but, they treated me very well there. I end up getting a place right down the street on Andrews Ave. The thing about that is I spoke with the county commission. They worked with me very well. They had set me up with the 2 years reparee housing. Then I was waiting for the emergency housing voucher also too as well. I work at Public Supermarket. I also have a couple of my children. But the thing about it is I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and you guys know how high everything is right now, which even though it's an affordable housing unit, that place right there does not have any 2 bedrooms. And the thing about that is you know, no one ever leaves there when they come there because, you know, it's very nice. My thing is, because I went to the state of the city, I went to that, you know, I was very proud of that. And I'm here to address about the affordable housing because I need a 2 to 3 bedroom affordable housing, something ranging like 30% of my income. I'm waiting on the emergency housing voucher throughout the county, but look like what happened was I may have been passed up because I was considered a single man. Because what they told me was once I get the voucher, just I can put my children on there then. But what happened was looked like because I was housed and I was waiting on the emergency housing voucher, looked like I may have been passed up. So I'm taking, you know, I'm addressing that with the county and everything. But what I need from the city where, you know, where I'm from, where I was born and raised at, I need affordable housing unit inside of the Fort Lauderdale department, because I know I heard the mayor, he was speaking about the units, because I know that it's a lot of high-rise buildings, but I know that it has to be some affordable housing in
Sure.
there also as well. So that's what I need. I need a list of those affordable housing units so that I can go there and then, you know, possibly get one of those. And also, too, I go to the school right there at the YMCA also, too.
Yep.
The YMCA is awesome up there. They got Broward College up there.
Right.
So I attend that also, too, as well.
Good.
So I definitely need some help with, because the thing is, where I'm at with the 1-bedroom, it doesn't allow me to have it doesn't allow me to have my children there.
Sure.
Because it'll be too many of them there. Then I also had a newborn baby. She's going to be 1 in December 9th. So I need a suitable place. Right now I'm low income. I'm back at Publix, you know, working my way back up there.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, Publix is a good job. You just have to work your way up. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going through that process right now. So I'm low income. You know, everything will be worked out. I know that the future is bright. You know, I know that. It's just that I need some help, you know, from the city right now of getting into one of the new affordable
Yep.
housing units that
So
you
Roderick,
have
yeah,
around in that
yeah.
area.
So first of all, great work listening to the mayor and remembering some things from what he said. So appreciate
Yes,
that.
yes,
He'll
yes.
appreciate that. But thanks for participating in the city. Thanks for being a great role model for your family and children. That's phenomenal. And we can absolutely try to help and work with you. So a couple things. Greg, could we connect him with Louisa? Is that, or where do you want to go?
Chris Cooper right now has
Cooper?
ample support for Mr. Roderick.
Yes.
Oh, great.
He will certainly speak with you about the HCD housing opportunities
Okay.
and make sure that you get the necessary support that you need.
Okay.
And definitely want to make sure that you have our contact information as well.
Right. You're right. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'll definitely need it.
So thank you. So Chris Cooper's a young man with the glasses that's coming your way, and I'll give you my card as well if you just stay for a little bit, and we're happy
Yes, I'm here.
to help.
Yeah, this gentleman here, he's my commissioner. I get his stuff through the mail all the time.
Oh, perfect. You got a phenomenal commissioner right there. All right, good. So he'll take care of you too. All right. Thank you, Roderick. Appreciate it. Okay, fantastic. So that was OSR 1. So City Clerk, if you want to continue with the vote.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
And with that, OSR 4 passes, correct? City Clerk, I just want to make sure I'm tracking. Okay, great. Now OSR 5. OSR 5, second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential, single-family, low-medium density, RS8 districts to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District 2401 Northeast 8th Street, City of Fort Lauderdale, case number UDP Z22010. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Commissioner Moritas.
None.
Commissioner McKenzie. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
I have none as well. Would anyone like to introduce?
Introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RS8 Residential Family Low Medium Density District to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of lots 13 and Park, Block 4, Sunrise, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 28, page 42 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Northeast 26th Avenue, north of Northeast 8th Street, east of Middle River Drive, and south of Northeast 9th Street, all said lands being the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And with that, OSR is approved. OSR 6. Second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from one-family detached dwelling county RS4 district to Parks Recreation and Open Space District, 4600 Twin Lakes Boulevard, City of Fort Lauderdale, case number UDP Z22011. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Commissioner Moritas?
None.
Commissioner McKenzie?
None.
Commissioner Glassman?
None.
None as well for me. Anyone like to introduce?
Introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RS4 one-family detached dwelling residential zoning district to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of Lot 9, Block 1, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 57, page 41 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Northwest 10th Way, north of Northwest 11th Terrace, east of Twin Lakes Boulevard, and south of Northwest 47th Street, all said lands being the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And with that, OSR 6 is approved. OSR 7, second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential single-family low-medium density RS8 district to Parks Recreation and Open Space District 2, North Victoria Park Road, City of Fort Lauderdale, case number UDP Z22012. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Commissioner Moritas?
None.
Commissioner McKenzie? Commissioner Glassman?
None.
None as well. Would anyone like to introduce?
Introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RS8 Residential Single-Family Low Medium Density District to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, Block 9, according to the plat book thereof, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 10, page 66 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Gordon Road, north of East Broward Boulevard, east of North Victoria Park Road, and south of Northeast 1st Street, all said lands being the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
OSR 7 is approved. Moving on to OSR 8, second reading. Ordinance amending the City of Fort Lauderdale Code of Ordinances, Section 8-55.2, titled Franchises, to allow one option to extend concession franchises for an additional term not to exceed 5 years. I'd like to introduce this. Yep.
Introduced.
Yeah. Oh, Commissioner McKenzie?
In ordinance of the City of Fort
Hold on
Lauderdale.
one sec.
Oh,
City, just
Yes.
want to give City.
Yes.
Commissioner, we're good? Okay. Mr. City Clerk, go ahead. It's been introduced.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Chapter 8 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, titled Boats, Docks, Beaches, and Waterways, amending Article 3 titled Public Beaches, amending Section 8.55.2 titled Franchises, allowing one option to extend concession franchises for an additional term not to exceed 5 years, providing for severability, providing for conflicts in repeal, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
With that, OSR 8 is approved. OSR 9, 0927, second reading, creating an ordinance in the City of Fort Lauderdale Code of Ordinances, Section 19-7, smoking or vaping in public parks or on public beach is prohibited. Anyone like to introduce this?
Introduced.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Fort Lauderdale titled Parks and Recreation, amending Article 1 titled In General by creating Section 19.7 titled Smoking or Vaping in Public Parks or on Public Beaches Prohibited, to prohibit smoking or vaping in any city park or on any city beach area, with the exception of unfiltered cigars, providing for severability, codification, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and effective date. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And with that, OSR is approved. Very, very good news. Fantastic. OSR 10, second reading, ordinance amending the City of Fort Lauderdale Code of Ordinances to delete Chapter 3, Article 1, Section 3-1, entitled Advertising Vehicles or Watercraft Prohibited of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'd like to introduce.
Introduced.
Great. And Mr. City Clerk, we have a public comment request, if that's all right. Carrie Jenny, is Carrie here? Carrie, would you like to comment? No. Carrie Jenny, 1220 Coontie Court? No. Okay. Not here. City Clerk, go ahead.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, deleting Chapter 3, Article 1, Section 3.1, entitled Advertising Vehicles or Watercraft Prohibited of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Code of Ordinances, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and repeal, providing for corrections of scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
And with that, OSR 10 is approved. Mr. City Manager, I know you have.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. So we have an update from the MPO about the quiet zones. This is something that you inquired about at the last meeting. And we have Ben Rogers to discuss something that's being fulfilled in order to ensure that we have the quiet zones enhanced or secured. He'll share what's taking place and wanted to make sure if we could have your support for a letter of support.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Ben Rogers, Director of Transportation Mobility. As the city manager alluded to, we've been working closely with the MPO on the quiet zone. As you brought up at the last meeting, Vice Mayor, that we're expecting a letter from the FRA, Federal Rail Administration, and it has not come yet. But as a proactive measure, the MPO looked at all the crossings in the city and in the county, and they've identified improvements that could be made. And for the city, there's 6 crossings that are being asked that we look at, and the potential cost of those improvements is just over $5 million. What the MPO is going to be doing is they're going to be submitting an application tomorrow for the Rail Crossing Elimination Program, which requires a 20% non-federal local match. And so at this point, the Broward MPO is requesting that the city provide a letter confirming that we would be willing to provide that 20% match, or the $1.03 million, if the grant would be awarded. The MPO is still looking at different funding sources and mechanisms to bring that cost down, but as the grant application's due tomorrow, they're looking to kind of understand or get feedback from the city if we would provide a not to exceed or a worst case scenario commitment.
Thank you, Ben. And so if this were awarded and the investment was made, it would it not only make the crossings safer, but would help us understand the impact on the ability to maintain a quiet zone, which we obviously want? Would it all facilitate that continuation of a quiet zone, or what would they?
So that's where it's a little challenging to give you clear direction. Absolutely would make it more safer. Statistics show if you have quadrant gates, you have medians, you have delineators, the crossings become more safe. What we don't know right now is if that would suffice the FRA in their review of our corridor and allow the quiet zone to stay, or if it would still be scrutinized and the quiet zone could still be eliminated. That's something I cannot confirm.
We don't know at this point. Greg, from a budgetary standpoint, so we're looking at $1 million, a little over $1 million.
Right, and so we would still need to come back before the commission to get approval of this. This just starts that process.
Okay.
It would take some time for them to consider and review this petition, but it would be a regional effort. Other cities are participating, and
Yeah, I was going to say that the amount is specific to our crossing. So each crossing has a different amount of funding needs. $1 million is specific to ours. It's not like a total aggregate countywide divided by the number of municipalities.
Yeah.
It's specific to our need.
Okay.
I did talk with Laura Reese briefly, and the funding mechanism would probably be the general fund balance.
Okay. So again, if I'm hearing you right, this is not a firm commitment. It's just expressing an interest to continue to explore and pursue.
I think it's an informal commitment that if the grant would be awarded, that we would be obligated, or the city would be
To commit that
provide
1 million.
that amount
Okay.
of money.
I mean, I'm comfortable with this, but let's start. Commissioner Moritas, if you want to
Yep.
start with your.
Ben, Cypress and Dixie, is that intersection included?
No, the 6 intersections that would be included for the city of Fort Lauderdale is Northeast 17th Court, Southeast 5th Street, Southwest 6th Street, Southwest 7th Street, Southwest 17th Street, and Southwest 22nd Street.
Does that mean that Dixie and Cypress would be allowed crossing?
I believe that Dixie and Cypress, I'd have to go back and review, but I believe they already have the quadrant gates on that crossing.
Okay, so it wouldn't,
It wouldn't deem
it wouldn't
additional
become allowed
improvements. Correct.
crossing. Does this safety mechanism that they have in place, is it just for cars, or does it help, does it block pedestrians at all, or it's probably impossible to block pedestrians?
No, all that's being reviewed. I think our improvements are more for quadrant gates, medians, and delineators focused at vehicles. I believe that there's some pedestrian improvements on Sunrise, which is not part of our responsibility. And then as part of the project, the MPO is also looking at adding fencing in between crossings in key areas where there's a lot of pedestrian and train interaction.
Okay.
And does that assume the crossing that Commissioner Moritas is referring to is already secure and with the robust?
Yeah, I've got some data I can review and follow up with Commissioner Moritas, and then also.
So make me understand something. What is this going to look like? I mean, just use 4th Street, for example. That is the one that is supposed to be the one that stops on both sides and pedestrian, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, it's just.
Are we trying to emulate that, or are we trying to add to and do something different in this new grant? And how would this look consistently with all of the FEC rail crossings?
So each crossing right now has a different standard. When they put the quiet zone in, there's different improvements that were made. Some crossings only have a single gate arm. Some don't have any delineators or medians. And so the improvement list here has different impacts on different crossings. But yes, to your point, Sistrunk has a quadrant gate, so it comes down on both sides of the road, and that's where a lot of the.
I was using 4th Street, not Sistrunk.
I believe
4th Street was right here by True Hotel. Is that the model we're going to get on all 7 of our FEC rail crossings?
I'll have to double check 4th Street. I'm not sure if that's a quadrant gate or not.
And I guess my question still is that what we're trying to achieve here?
Yes.
Or are we trying to do something different?
No, the goal is to improve safety, to allow the quiet zone to exist in the downtown corridor.
Downtown, so that means that excludes.
Yeah, we'd also like a quiet zone in District 1.
Sorry, I misspoke.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
correct.
thank you.
Yeah, the quiet zone is
So
countywide.
what is the total number of FEC crossings in the city of Fort Lauderdale? Maybe that'll help.
I don't have that off the top of my mind. I want to say.
7, that we're talking about 7, but I think.
There's more, he said.
Yeah, so these 6 are just city jurisdiction. So you have Broward Boulevard and Sunrise, which are not city roadways. So those would not be on our list. So I do have all the data. I can open up a spreadsheet if you want to go into it, or I can provide that information in a subsequent to the meeting.
Well, prior to the meeting is fine. We just want to make sure that we can capture what we can in terms of city crossways or railroad crossings. Because obviously, based on what you just said, some of them we don't have jurisdiction over.
Correct.
Okay. Clear?
Yeah, I just want to make sure they're, like I said, quiet up in District 1.
You want to make sure you have it in your district, which is how we all think up here, not me so much. But,
Right.
But we're talking about 7 crossings that are in the city of Fort Lauderdale where we have authority over.
Yep.
So it may not meet your request, so I want to make sure we just paint that picture to understand what it is we're agreeing to and where these locations are. You don't say, well, I thought I had that one.
Will do. And again, the improvements that are being reviewed right now are countywide, but the 6 that are under our jurisdiction are the 6 I'm referencing.
We'll look at the other ones on that.
Thank you.
And again, Ben,
Don't
correct me
forget.
if I'm wrong, but the idea is to improve all the intersections under city control that are not to that standard we want, right? So
Correct. And Commissioner McKenzie, to your inquiry about 4th Street, Anthony did confirm that 4th Street does have quadrant gates, and so that is the.
I know what it has. I cross it every day. I like it. And what I can't understand for the life of me is why are people continuing to rush through these gates when they're there for your safety? And even tonight, coming to the meeting, good thing I wasn't late or rushing to get here. It started flashing, and I stopped. And ironically, from the east side, there was a passenger van, yellow in color, that rushed through the gate. Believe it or not, guess what it was? It was a Brightline passenger van. I was blown away, but it made me take a look at the gate in its entirety in terms of the safety, and to still see people that are racing through these crossways just puzzles me. But I met with one of the executives a couple of months ago. They have this program where they're going out. I think we touched on it a little bit last time, where they'll go out to a park, event, activity, group, club, and they promote safety. Right. And a lot of this is educating folks on what not to do at these railroad crossings and how dangerous they are. Both Tri-Rail and the Brightline rails are all dangerous, but it's an educational piece. And I think the chief was involved in some of this. I know BSO is. Mm-hmm. But they can bring this to your doorsteps and educate folks about these crossings. More so, because we have the quiet zone. Mm-hmm. So we keep talking about the quiet zone, and it's not so much the quiet zone other than lifting, the fear of lifting, and the horns are coming back, and it disturbs someone's sleep. I'm more concerned about safety for people, and how do we get that message out, and how do we continue to do that if we're doing a good job at it? And to me, that's more important than this horn that has been quiet, and we have some almost 100 deaths with a quiet zone. So I want to look at the whole thing as a whole to make sure that we're dealing with safety, not so much how Robert McKenzie is going to sleep at night because of a horn at the rails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a fair point, and I think this will help with safety. And then, Greg, maybe an idea is it could be great to have Brightline, a representative, come to maybe a conference meeting and just give us a little update.
Definitely,
How are things going? How can we better partner? How can we spread the awareness?
Definitely, we could engage with them, have them come, and start a campaign.
Yeah, and we can be a more active participant in that, because I think it's a great point. Excellent. Commissioner Glassman,
No, I'm generally okay with it. I mean, I typically like to just see something, read something, have it seems kind of last minute, so I'm not 100% comfortable with it because I don't really have a chance to study it or pay attention to it enough.
Yeah.
But it sounds like okay to me.
Yeah, I think we got a little time crunch, so great. So I think you got city manager consensus of willingness to move forward.
Sure, and we will give you a copy of that letter, and we certainly are going to come back should we win the commitment or the grant to get approval for budget.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. City manager, what else do you have for us
That's all.
tonight? Commissioner Glassman, can you just remind us, I know you mentioned earlier the upcoming Jewish holiday, if you just...
That actually begins tomorrow evening at sundown and ends Wednesday night at sundown. It's Yom Kippur. It's the Day of Atonement. It basically ends the period of the High Holy Days. And it has basically a fasting component for tomorrow night, sundown, through Wednesday night, sundown.
Thank you. So,
Thank you.
thank you for that. Commissioners, anything else for the commission? With that, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.